What's up, folks? How you guys doing? Welcome to the Triple B TV live stream. No, that's not clickbait. This is our last live stream, potentially for the foreseeable future on the channel, because, you know, we're going back into real life. Went to the Arlington Reptile show, got some interviews with some awesome peaceable, and we're going to be doing those live streams no more. We're going to be doing them in person with people, playing them recorded. And we'll still be doing our Zoom calls afterwards. However, the live stream portion, like this is it. This is the last one until who knows when. Because I've got like interviews with what, like 4 to 8 people. So that'll probably get us through until the Schomburg show, which I was 95% on the fence about going. I thought, like, not on the fence, I guess 95% certain about going. I think that I'm pretty much going to go, and we'll get more interviews with people there in person. So yeah, no, live streams are going to be donezo, folks. Welcome to the last one, until we have our next pandemic and we have to be forced to be apart from each other again. No, thank you. Tonight we've got the lovely Deadly Tarantula Girl, and you're watching Triple B TV. Snap! Snap! And ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, here is the lovely Miss Deadly Tarantula Girl. What's up, sister?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Nice to have you here.
Oh, you too. And it was a super fun weekend.
I
How
know
was your
that-
trip home?
Well, the funny thing is, like I said, it's the last lot we're doing them in person. We could have done one in person with you and recorded it.
I know.
But I already had, and I even knew you were going to be there because I talked to you about it beforehand.
We were too busy hugging.
We're too busy hugging, and
Hugging.
also I knew that I had you scheduled, so I was like, "There's no, I
True,
shouldn't be
true.
doing that," and because I thought we could maybe talk about the show, and so we ended up doing a video on your channel in Earl's backyard. That was completely impromptu.
Yeah. That was fun. Lots of fun.
That was fun. That's what it was.
Now
So-
people are posting pictures and I'm just like, ooh, how did that even all occur? But it was all in good fun.
Like the entire show, or just Earl's backyard?
Well, Earl's backyard, yeah, things got a little kooky, but it was good.
I will admit there were a few moments where I started to feel just a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was some concern for society there for a few minutes. Yeah.
I'm generally a pretty comfortable person. I guess people are gonna have to. When is that video going out, by the way?
Okay, funny story. We did an interview with JD Constrictor's last show, and me being smart, I had turned off the battery to the microphone to, conserve power. And then my camera guy thought it was still on because he hadn't turned it off. Who am I to turn something off? I shouldn't have done that. So we did the whole video with no sound. And like our camera picked it up, but at a show, that's no good. And it was an awesome interview. So his interview will be coming out first, and I think it's done. And I don't know who's next. I'm not the producer, and I'm not the one that's in control of our edit schedule. So I don't know. Deadly Tarantula Girl might pop in the chat and tell us when it's coming out. But it was good, so it'll definitely be one of the first.
Nice.
But JD's before you.
Cool. And there is, for anybody that wants to find any of Deadly Tarantula Girl's content, the link is down in the description. You can go click there and find anything she's putting out, interviews from the show, etc. Marita De La Pena, am I saying it correctly?
Pena.
Oh, there's no Enye.
Yes.
You have no Enye over the thing in the...
Well, a lot of keyboards won't do that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So
I wonder if I could get
YouTube's
my
racist.
keyboard to do it. You know, I'm gonna try it.
there is if you have a like Word, there's a code to make that symbol. It's a different letter, the N with the...
Yeah, the
I should even know.
Enye.
Yeah, we'll call it that. It's
Oh.
called a can't think what it's called.
It's
I should
called
know
a-
that.
it's
I'm
called
an
a
English teacher.
It's called this is Spanish, so
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not a Spanish teacher. I'm an English teacher.
I'm holding it
Oh,
down. It's just giving me a whole bunch load of a bunch of.
Deadly Tarantula Girl just said it's coming out next Wednesday. So thanks for that, lady.
Oh, it doesn't. It won't do it. Now you're Marita De La P.
Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. I'm
it
all about that life.
it's
Sure.
it's in the
Okay.
thing, like in the text field where I type it in. It's there, but
Uh-huh.
it just won't show up on the screen. It's just like a blank
Okay.
space where that Enya is. Anyway, I wanted to ask because I saw it without the Enya, and so I was curious if it was.
Yes.
But
Thank you so much.
but then you also had which I makes more sense to me. I wanted to say Pena, and when I didn't see the little squiggle, I was like Pena.
You're so smart. Yeah. Yes.
But what is your other name here? You got another name? Am I
So does it
tripping?
say Laura Becky?
Yeah.
That's my married name. That's my actual legal name now that, JD and me tied the knot like 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
But there's lots of creepers out there. So I prefer that people not have my legal name unless, like you and me, we know each other. So, also it just doesn't roll off the tongue as well. And it's confusing to read. So it would just invite more confusion.
Yeah. No offense to JD whatsoever, but I absolutely
Yes,
would
none.
much prefer to
Well,
say De La Pena.
yes. And it's a little more true to my roots, but so his last name is actually really weird because when his grandfather immigrated from Poland to the so he's Polish Mexican, right? When his grandfather immigrated, they changed it from Lorbeski and they Americanized it to Lorbecky. So it's really not like if you see a name like De La Pena or like there are a lot of last names that you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like I could see you, and it kind of, like that you can sort of guess how to pronounce it. But Laura Becky's not has no cultural background except for it's us. So
It's just a
uh
typo.
yeah,
It's
you
like
could say
Marita
that.
De La P.
Right. Just like that. A little more dignified, but yeah,
Well, P not P as in not P as in on a tree, but P as
right.
in
Just a letter.
in the pod.
Yeah.
P in a pod.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, the pod. Well, how did you? Oh, you said getting harangued by people online. How do you?
Mm,
How do you? I feel like maybe I don't get it as much as some folks do. But I was thinking about it today. I was thinking about like,
mm-hmm,
in the real world or the world
mm-hmm,
before the internet existed. Like somebody would have to have your phone number if they wanted
mm-hmm.
to, you know, have an effect on your day at
Or
any
to talk
point,
to you
or to
in
talk to you,
person.
anything like that. Whereas today you could, and you don't have to be on social media, but if you're doing stuff like we do, we have shows on YouTube and we're on the internet. All you have to do is wake up in the morning and just happen to come across the wrong thing, and all of a sudden somebody you don't even know has affected your day. So
Right.
how do you deal with that? Because I feel like you probably get more of it than I do.
Well, so there's a couple things. First of all, I get way more love than hate, and I there's definitely more wonderful things about um being online and being able to connect and being able to teach people because that's my passion, animals and teaching. And I feel like I do educate a lot of people. And even if they don't learn something as specific as what temperature to incubate, they might learn that they shouldn't kill all snakes and spiders. And to me, that's like a world changer right there. Or that maybe it's not the weirdest thing in the world that their grandkid likes to pick up roly polies and look at them and wants to keep them for a day. I've had a lot of people write me and say, my daughter is very interested in bugs, and I used to think it was just really gross and dangerous and definitely not something that girls do. So it wasn't okay. She said, and then I ran across you online, and she said, I didn't know that there were whole communities of people that pay money for bugs and keep them and study them and breed them. And she said, and you're a woman and you seem, well, not like a weirdo. You're like an attractive, like educated person that lives in a house. So, I mean, it really kind of enlightened her. And to me, that's the type of social change that we need to have, for one, for conservation, for people to begin seeing value in the lives, whether they want to keep them or not, whether they value them, to realize that all animals have a niche in our ecosystem and that they're important and they should be valued. So I want to say that first, that I love it and it's mostly awesome. Um, And then there's like the 1%ers who don't like my care or don't like that I keep animals for some reason. Like they think that it's cruel that animals live in captivity and, that whole bag. Um, that's fine with me. I believe that we all are entitled to our opinion, and I'm not asking them to keep animals in captivity. I'd like to have that right and that privilege, just like they have the right not to do it. And I totally welcome diverse opinions. I use a really old school substrate on my snake incubation and on my tarantulas. It's worked for me. Not to say it's never failed, like, oh, I have 100% success rate, but over the years, it's worked for me very consistently. I don't feel a need to change. Are there newer products? Yes. Um,
What
but
is
it
that?
works well.
What are you using?
Vermiculite, it's
Oh,
like a
I,
gardening soil.
yeah, a lot of people use vermiculite still. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I use, and well, I incubate on perlite, and a lot of people are like, oh, that's, well, I mean, most of the big breeders still incubate on perlite,
I'm using
and it's
I'm using
cool.
perlite. I'd consider
Oh,
myself
you're an
fairly
idiot.
new.
You're an idiot. No, I mean, perlite is a little more accepted than vermiculite because it vermiculite, people say it's not natural. Yeah, it actually is natural. It's not very pretty. That's the thing. So people look down on it for that because the tarantulas have an ugly enclosure. Well, they don't care. That's, people like to anthropomorphize their animals and say, oh, well, they really would, prefer a roomy enclosure. Well, no, they wouldn't, because in the wild they choose the very smallest possible crevice so they can stay safe, because that's what they want. They want to be safe and they want to survive. What do they do with me? They're safe and they survive. So that's the 1%ers, the people that disagree with me. Maybe like, I would say probably like 3 to 5% are the, I'm just gonna call them, to be politically correct, the misogynistic dicks. Um, the micro penises out there that don't like that I'm a woman that does have a mind,
Was
who
that how you
is
say it?
accomplishing.
I
Yes.
thought it was macropenis. Yeah,
Oh,
micropenis. That sounds more right.
sure. You could, yeah, yeah. Either way, it's not the pronunciation; it's their lack of centimeters that's really key here, because I find that it really enrages people. And so there are people who are totally offended by the fact that I'm a woman and that I'm online and I'm doing things. And so when they attack me, they say things like, "You're a cunt and a whore, and you should have your uterus ripped out." Ooh, where did that come from? Like, why do you hate me? Um, you have problems, obviously. And so
That's that's
I never take that personally,
yeah.
but
That's a tough one. I mean, not that'd be a tough one. Maybe not to take personally, but I feel like you're strong enough in a place in your mind that you're like, obviously you're just an idiot. But
well, once in a while I'm like, well, a lot of it's, you should just do porn. No, thank you. I mean, I understand that you have your own desires, but buy a magazine. I don't know. I'm here to educate. People are very critical of my appearance, very critical. So it's always that I'm ugly, I'm fat, or I'm too skinny, or I'm too ethnic, or um, my lips are too big. I should quit getting filler. Did I get filler?
no,
I
I
had
seen
no idea.
I seen your lips in
Uh,
person. If there is filler, it was like the most amazing fill job ever because you can't tell.
well, thank you. That I should stop getting fake ass implants. Um, I do squats at the gym. I'm sorry. Um, people. So the issue I have with this is that Dave Kaufman and Brian Barczyk and Billy Rose never get called a whore because people don't like their content. And so to me, that just goes back to misogynistic rape culture of, oh, I'm threatened by you, so I'm going to try to demoralize you and just objectify you to try and humiliate. And I'm sorry, but that doesn't humiliate me. That humiliates you. Because what does that tell me? That you think I have a bigger dick than you have. And that's just sad for you. So I would say on 99% of days, it rolls off me. And also, so prejudice comments I do not allow. Um, so whether it's that they hate me because I'm a fucking chink, or oh, I can tell you're Brazilian, you whore. Oh, I'm not. Thank you. Brazilian women are beautiful. Um, so if it's like regarding my race or my gender, I don't allow that because that's not just an insult toward me, it's an insult toward a group. And I protect my viewers by just blink, I'm sorry, you don't exist anymore. So,
That's fair. I would say that those are the type of comments to just delete. You know, if they're just popping up, there's no benefit in
right,
keeping that around to have some kind of, you know, intelligent debate. That, you know,
right.
I'm all for leaving up comments that are like that maybe go against, like you said, that are, you know, a diverse opinion that are different than your
Right.
own, but ones that are just blatant, like just coming from a place like I'm trying to stab you and hurt you from afar remotely. I'd say there's no
Yeah.
reason to leave something like that up. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you
And
there.
then there's also 1% of like those people who love you. And I love them too. I love them. They're awesome. Those are the people that are going to watch your videos over and over and over, and they're going to comment every single thing, and they're going to follow you on any kind of platform you're on, and they're going to send you gifts. And I do love those people. They're awesome. I mean, they're just really cool. I've never been stalked in person by any of those people, so I'm just going to stick with I love them. And it's fun to meet them at shows. I haven't met very many of those people in person because they are like all over the world. But I definitely love meeting people who have said like I've been watching you and you've taught me so much, or you changed my mind about, you know, the animals were gross. And yeah, so that leaves 92%. That's awesome and amazing every day. A lot of it's inquiry about how do I do this? I have an animal in trouble. And so when we get those emails or those messages, and then we get one back saying, "Oh my gosh, you helped me out, and you, I didn't real, I just molting, or I didn't know what to do with those eggs, and now they're hatching." To me, that's like hands down 100% worth it, and it's a lot of fun. I have fun doing it, and there are days when you like don't feel like getting online or don't feel like filming because you're tired or whatever, and then when you get that feedback, it's 1,000% worth it and so awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I've had those, like I was telling you before we started here. I, you know, get to that point in the day where I've been going pretty hard for about 12 hours, and I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe it's nap time now. But the thing about a scheduled live stream is you go on and you do it anyway. But we'll take a
Yes.
nap first. Luckily, you gave me energy just knowing I've got to sit here and talk with you. Anybody who hasn't got to meet you in person, like you got this energy that just like carries with you. It's like this is there. Like when I see it at the show, I feel like when we first walked into dinner at Earl's place, I saw you sitting across the table, you know, down the way. I was like, it like just gave me energy just to see you sitting there. Like I was just like,
Ah, awesome.
Marita's here, Marita's here. We're gonna have a good time now.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. I love your energy too. I always love hanging out with you. I really admire you, and to me you're one of the people that is set apart from other YouTubers. Um I don't know how you do it. I've actually asked you point blank and you don't seem to know the answer because I don't think that you really know that you're doing it. But you have a way of making your audience bond with you, or enabling, not making. It's not like a weird manipulative thing, but it's like your audience can bond with you. And I think it's because you're so open and candid. And I don't know, I felt close to you before we ever even met, which for me is cool because it helps me understand sometimes how my viewers feel, which I didn't understand that previously. Because no one I was watching on YouTube, I was like, wow, like I wonder how he's doing today. He's so cool. Like they're gonna have the baby soon, and I don't know, which now that was a long time ago, but awesome.
Yeah, the babies are 8, 5, and 3 now. They're still. I think they'll always be babies to me, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know. I still don't really know. It's because it can be, as you probably know yourself. Like sometimes we hit record on the camera, it can be interesting. All of a sudden you're performing, a little bit. Like it's
Yeah.
just naturally. It's not something you can. I don't think it's something you can. No, I do let go of it at time. Actually, I'm sure you probably do too. I think many people do, but it's like my favorite time is to forget that the camera's recording and just like go with
Right.
whatever's happening. And then also a lot of those times that's the content that ends up going out where people are like, what are you doing? Or who do you think you are? I was like, that's when you can't let it bother you that much. It's like I was just being
Right.
myself, man. Like, and sometimes we're all different people. I think people will sometimes expect you to be, since you're making a video, they expect you to be, I don't know, like perfect or above reproach or above making mistakes, which can
Right.
be done through editing. You could edit the hell out of your life and remove every single mistake you've ever made. And that's
Right.
one way to do it. And that's what a lot of TV was, maybe before reality TV. It's like we just edited out
Right.
whatever wasn't, was too real. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about what
So
I'm
we're
doing.
real people, and I guess that people can see that because although we have a persona and we definitely try to put our best foot forward on camera, on the other hand, you and I are both genuine enough. Like I was just told, like you're being too serious. Like, um, I feel that we express our own opinions, and if you're on a network or something, it's no one's opinion. It has to be neutral. It has to be, or there is some kind of agenda. But you and I are true to ourselves, and we say what we think and what we express what we really do.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I, I think people appreciate that.
Well, I am constantly thinking about like how are things going to be received. I do think about that all the time. Like I wonder how people are going to receive this, but because I'll have this idea like, oh, this seems like a really good idea, and then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it'll stop me. And I'll be like, I'll be thinking about, well, wonder if maybe everybody won't think this is such a great idea,
Right.
and and I usually do it anyway. So
Good.
even if in hindsight I'm like, okay, maybe I could have done it like slightly different, but whatever. It is what it is. It's all we had. Dude, the show this weekend was phenomenal. Have you been to shows before this weekend?
Well, I was at the last NARBC.
Okay.
So in between there, no, and before that, it had been like a year, I think.
So you were at
I think I was at a show. So the fall show. Wait, was there one in the spring?
September? Yeah, I think there was. I know I did.
I've been at every of the several last NARBCs because usually I'm a speaker. So every time they have a show in Arlington, the Tinley show, they asked me to speak. I couldn't do it in the spring because of work and stuff. And I said, can I do the fall show? And they said, yeah. And then the whole pandemic started. They said, we want you to go to Chicago.
What kind of dog is that?
Some kind of little Chihuahua mutt thing. He's playing with our other dog.
It
Come here,
sounds
Cairo.
Chihuahuish.
Yeah, he's kind of a yapper.
Chihuahua.
Oh gosh. Yeah. We have an extra dog in the house that's not normally here. He's been living in Dallas for a few years. Quit, you guys. And so it's like happy reunion time. Yeah.
That's awesome. I like
Yeah.
dogs. I like dags. Dags. So you went to just just one show since so Tinley got canceled March 2020. Right. And then the next show that you went to was the September Arlington show.
I think I've only been to the NARBCs.
But so was there an NARBC? Did St. Louis happen or something? Was there a St. Louis show?
No. Arlington's, only the Arlingtons.
Okay, so so just the September Arlington. I think that's the only NARBC that has happened. Unless I'm mistaken, unless there's a St. Louis show, or unless I don't, because there was no Tinley show, right? There was no Tinley.
No. Remember, everybody went, and then it.
Right, that was the one that got canceled in March.
Right.
And then there was the next NARBC. I thought would have been.
Oh, that was in the fall, wasn't it?
Like
Wait,
yeah, in the fall, September Arlington.
Right.
I didn't go to that one.
I don't know. And then there's a venomous show that I go to because I do breed venomous snakes too.
Okay.
And so I think I went to the venomous show once in 2020. Yeah, I did, because it was weird because they couldn't let all that many people in, and someone coughed on me and I got COVID. So that was fun.
That was
there was a guy that kept like coughing on me and like shaking my hand and hugging me, and I was all a little bit, and I was like delirious on the drive home. It was very unpleasant.
Oh no.
Um,
Dang.
and then the school shut down, so that was spring break. The school, so the week before spring break, we had spring break, and then we didn't go back to school after that. And I was in quarantine for a month because they didn't even have any testing kits or anything where we lived. So they're just like, you have COVID, lock yourself away, like do not come out for 30 days. Because they didn't know a whole lot by then at that point. So that was in March or
okay.
February, March.
So that was my main question about like this show versus, because that was my first show back since the thing got canceled. Well, we had that one show that like slipped through the cracks here in our local show that Zoom had put on like the day that after Tinley got canceled, basically, or the same weekend that Tinley got canceled.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it was happening the same weekend that Tinley got canceled, but it slipped through the cracks somehow. County show.
Zach is saying it was September 26 and 27.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at that show.
So how?
And it was like everyone was masked and.
Okay. See, and that was my thing. I didn't really want to come back to a show until it was gonna feel like it was just like a show. Like I didn't like not letting a certain number of people through the door and everybody being all weird and kind of paranoid about stuff. I didn't want to have that experience at a show ever. So I just kind of like until there's like a show happen, until everybody's back into land of comfortability, then I'll go to that show. And I feel like this last show did that. It didn't disappoint. Like I felt like it was just like every other NRBC show I've ever been to.
Good. It felt, I mean, we were all able to hug, talk without masks. We were able to, it's hard to film an interview with a mask. I was choosing to take off my mask. Some of the people I interviewed had their masks on, which it was funny because so JD from JD Constrictors. So he's the guy, if you guys didn't know, that made the
Stormtrooper ball.
Darth Vader. Stormtrooper, yeah. It was like that black and white ball python. So he had his mask on and he was like, I have to ask, did it not come out because I was wearing my mask? He's like, I was kicking myself for that. I'm like, no, let me tell you a little story about whose boo-boo that was. And so he laughed. And so we talked about
John's super chill.
He is. Oh my gosh. He's amazing. He's like a big teddy bear. It's really sweet. I said we should do the new interview. I said, but we should put out the old video, but like overdub it with like something really funny. And he was like, do. So we don't know.
Did you get him? Are you using his voice to do it?
Well, we can't. We don't have his voice. We're gonna do like a karate video. I don't know. Is that offensive? I don't know. We haven't decided. We thought about having like some of you guys chime in and do the voices and like make it funny, but I think he wanted to put it out pretty fast, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it was from September that it was waiting to come out, yeah, he probably wants to put it out pretty fast.
Yeah.
I say just go for it, and it's gonna.
But I think
whatever you do, it's gonna offend somebody. Don't worry about it.
That's true. Yeah. So just gotta say, I'm rocking my Snakes and the Fat Man because I love me some Chris Eaton.
Woohoo! We can't see it right now.
Oh well, there we go.
There. Oh, you gotta go a little higher. Just
a little higher.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
So Chris might be in the Zoom call afterwards. Actually,
He said he was going to be.
Yeah, I was chatting with Chris a bunch today. Chris is fantastic.
I love that man.
Yeah, I love Chris, man. Some people don't get it, but
oh yeah.
But I get it.
He's Chris. No apologies, and I love him. He's my friend. So if people hate him, more power to you. But a lot of people know who he is, so that's what they say: love him or hate him.
I sometimes I'm not sure 100% yet if it's because he's definitely a loving guy. Like he's
Chris is in the chat. He said, "I'm rocking the old school shirt." Yes, I am.
Yeah, he's definitely a loving guy. I mean, he's got a lot of love. But to somebody that doesn't, I don't know if he's being sarcastic necessarily a lot of the time, or if he's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I get it. I get it. As somebody who was, born and bred on sarcasm, I 100%, everything makes sense. Like I just laugh at everything. And sometimes I think it gets when somebody's like trying to be serious with me and they're actually pissed off, but they're like being truthful about how they're feeling. I'll still find myself laughing. and they'll be like, and yeah, because it's funny, because like to me the only good, the best comedy is the stuff that's true, and that doesn't like there's no thing in my brain that shuts that off, even if somebody's like pissed off and
Yeah, that's true.
they're
And
speaking
sometimes it
truth
is funny.
and they say
Like,
something. Yeah,
let's
it's
be
funny. I
real.
just laugh. They're like,
Yeah,
it's not funny. I'm like, sorry, it's kind of funny.
that's funny.
Uh,
Very funny.
so what got you started on tarantulas, snakes, or and making videos about them? Like what where?
Okay. So I feel like there's a pretty, I've said it so many times, it's pretty easy to repeat. So long story short, I grew up in the hills of California in your kind of your neighborhood.
What?
Um, yeah,
Mine? What?
I,
What neighborhood?
well, Napa.
Okay.
So
Oh, right,
not
right. I knew that.
terribly.
I knew that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you knew that. I know you knew that. So there were a lot of, I used to hike the Westwood Hills, and there were a lot of very harmless animals that I could, chase after and see, and um, just beautiful stuff. My mom was an animal lover, so we always had several animals, not reptiles, but I was had some exposure. I was fascinated by frogs. Like we would have tree frogs laying eggs in our yard on the trees, and I always wanted to uh, bring the eggs inside and morph them out. My mom would say, "No, you're not going to be able to do it." So I would go out every day and look at them, and it was fascinating. So in 1989, which we're the same age, I left California and went to New Mexico. So I was still a kid, and that is when I started seeing all these massive invertebrates: tarantulas, centipedes, scorpions, vinegaroons, huge ants, even. And they were mostly relatively harmless. I mean, if you got stung by one, it would hurt, but it's a, I mean, we have Jerusalem crickets here, which I mean, they could bite like a mother, but they're like these little alien-looking cherub things with pinchers. They're so crazy. And so I would make little ant farms and go out and mess with the tarantulas and watch them rear up. And um, I would sometimes keep them. Sometimes we had box turtles and, of course, snakes, which some were venomous. So my parents weren't super psyched about me going out and catching snakes. But it was a whole new ecosystem of animals. And that's when I started getting really fascinated with invertebrates, which I was interested in amphibians, salamanders, and frogs and stuff in California. New Mexico is when I got interested in invertebrates. And then when I got in my late teens, early 20s, I got exposed to the exotic animal world, and I was like, what? That blew my mind. And
You talking like
I mean,
tigers?
well, reptiles and even exotic tarantulas. And I guess I always knew that some people kept cats, but I never really have known. Well, I do know some cat people, but I'm not super close with any cat people. Well, super duper close with any cat people. But so I was going to college to be a teacher, but I was like, wow, exotic animals are incredible. So, long story short, I started managing a pet store, and they were like, well, you don't know that much yet about the animals, but you're obviously super smart and you're trustworthy and you're good with the customers, and you're good with the money and the books and all, because I it was like a one-man show. I did everything. And so of course I got thrown in, and so stuff was labeled, and I was reading. There were books in that store too, which I think all pet stores should have books. And or care sheets, I guess, since people don't read. But but I mean, I just like immersed myself in learning about all that stuff. And so when I found out about rainbow boas, I was like, these are magical, which of course now I know about indigos and bolins and dry marcon and retics. I mean, retics irides. And there's so much beautiful stuff. So in the pet store, it was funny, or it was fun. It was funny too, I guess. It was fun because I was able to be exposed and work with tons of different stuff without committing to keep any of them. And then if there was something I really liked, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this. Okay, I'm going to get this. Okay, I'm going to get this. And then my husband, who um, when we met, which was almost 20 years ago, he already had a hardcore, like a serious collection, and he was super into venomous. And he started mentoring me in venomous, and I was just like, I and a dude with a cobra on a hook. Like, I don't know, that's really hot. And he was so intelligent, and he understood the animals, and he had a respectful, um, very responsible relationship with them. I've seen a lot of guys do things with venomous that I really don't approve of. To each their
They're
own.
riding motorcycles at 120 without a helmet.
Yes, we will say that. I don't believe that alcohol and reptiles, venomous or even big pythons should mix.
Mm.
That's my personal
I
opinion.
that's one thing that I like. I think that people should be able to do whatever they want, basically. But that's one thing I
Right.
personally don't would it because I do the combo of the kids, and maybe if I did eat the kids, the fact that I like to drink some whiskey from time to time is one of the reasons I. Until that's done, yeah, it's not a good
Well,
mix.
and JD's diabetic. He's been a type 1 diabetic since he was a little kid. So we have a lot of safety measures. So we always check his blood sugar, because if your blood sugar's low, you're essentially have the cognitive ability. It's like you're drunk, and the motor skills too. So we check his blood sugar. We monitor his blood sugars. Of course, he doesn't drink at all. I drink just a little. Of course, no alcohol that whole night until we're totally done, which I don't drink much. But if I'm going to have a glass of wine, it's never on a night when we're even checking on venomous.
Yeah, it's smart.
Um, Obviously, I don't believe you should do drugs and work with venomous. I don't do that at all. Um,
Which
I
alcohol is a drug. Just saying.
Okay. So, illicit street drugs, I guess I should specify. Um, oh, that's nice. Thank you, High Desert. Oh, I got to meet Antoine in person. That was amazing.
That was
Super,
great. Well, that
super hot guy.
can we do spoiler alert or no?
Yeah, let's do.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
yeah. Well, you go ahead. It was Antoine. You just had there were chairs sitting in the backyard, and I was
Yeah.
like, you had your stuff set up. I was like, well, what's happening
Yeah.
back here to the studio? You're like, yeah, you're gonna come sit down. And then Antoine sit down, and I went sat down next to him. Antoine is hilarious. Antoine is
Oh,
hilarious,
so funny.
and he's just got such this great, big, happy, friendly. It's like everything you would want in an Antoine is what Antoine is, and like,
Seriously. Like, I love Mastiffs, and that's what he reminds me of. He's like the biggest, most hilarious, like badass motherfucker, and he can kill you, don't get me wrong, but you're gonna be laughing in the meantime. Like, he is a super amazing man. I'm so glad we've become friends. He's awesome.
yeah, that was.
And he's gonna send me one of those shirts. Is in the mail, right, Antoine? Right?
I got a shirt in the mail. I'm just saying.
Mm. Well, I got one of the dude shirts. I'm waiting for one of the lady shirts, or one of the female presenting. No disrespect to anyone.
I didn't get one of the female presenting shirts. I would maybe like
Well,
one of them just for fun.
yeah, there we go. I think you would rock it.
Oh
Pretty
yeah,
hot bod.
I would rock it. That
I-
would just for fun, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I totally sidetracked you. What were you sidetracked yourself.
I did. Well,
Oh,
I
oh,
saw
no.
that super chat,
No
and I always want to.
no no illicit street drugs and venomous snakes at the same time.
Yes. So back then, almost 2 decades ago.
Sorry,
And
we dropped there for a second. Can you say what you just said?
I said, so talking about venomous, that was my introduction to venomous, was almost 20 years ago. And so when we got totally enmeshed pretty quickly. And so when our collections and our interests collided, it was like really crazy, because we both like a huge diverse collection, but there's things that I love that he's like I could do without it. They're awesome, but like if I were going to choose my top 20, might not be it. And then there's other things that he really digs sand boas, and I'm like, they're neat.
How many is this too hard a question to answer, or how many different species do you have there?
Oh my gosh.
You could
wild guess?
Yeah, there you go.
100
Okay.
maybe?
I thought it was something. I know you got a lot of different species. I mean, between all the invertebrates and reptiles.
Oh, well,
and...
okay, 200 maybe? Yeah, I really don't know, but I mean, our collection's not that huge. We have
just diverse.
Yeah, it is. We normally have between 250 and 1,000 invertebrates at a time. Usually either pairs or groups of species, and then all different. And then we try to stay under like 50 mammals, because that's, they take like daily food and watering and cuddling depending on what it is. And
I've got no mammals, so I can't.
Yes, your children, those are the hardest kind to keep. And then a lot of times we have between 50 and 100 amphibians, and then 200 to 350 reptiles. So, I mean, not the biggest collection in the world, but what does take a lot of our time is so many different species.
Yeah, I would imagine. So that's a lot of different species. I think I've got like 10 different species, maybe more at this point, but all the ones that are making it more than 3, I have like 1 of each, So
yeah. So we have a few more.
Yeah. So how do you keep? So you're a teacher, you run content. How often are you guys putting out content? Are you on schedule?
That is an interesting question. We were really sticking to 3 days a week, and we're really thinking about changing that, but pretty faithfully 3 days a week. So we try to put out invert content, reptile content, and then a something. So either an interview or an unboxing or a mammal, or it could be a amphibian, or could be another invert or reptile. But the middle one's kind of a wild card video.
And where does
nobody want? Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're not.
I was just gonna say, like, if we go to a show and film 10 interviews, nobody wants to see a bunch of interviews in a row, which kind of sucks, because then you have to really space them out.
I knew I messed up somewhere on this channel. Well.
I mean, I would honestly, like, if I were there for animal content and then I started seeing people, I apologize, I took no pictures of people. People took pictures with me. I figured people that cared would take pictures with me. I didn't take pictures with people. I took
only pictures of people. I didn't take pictures of a single animal.
Well, I went and did fun stuff after the show, and that's when I took pictures. So, yeah. I mean, the show was fun, but
yeah,
I saw animals on the show.
Yeah.
To me, if you take a picture of an animal in a display tank.
I took video of I ran around the show for a half hour and did an uncut video, which is coming out tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know if we even did that this show.
It's the only time I had time for it this time with the interviews and then doing the booth thing too. But
yeah, so you were running the Freedom Breeder booth.
So semi running. I was there for sure most of the time hanging out. Julie,
I didn't even ever find it.
Really?
I looked for it.
Really?
Yeah. It was Saturday was fast and furious because I wasn't there on Sunday.
Oh, you're right. No, I didn't see you at the booth. You're right. Well, it was also the smallest booth that Freedom Breeders ever had at a show, I think. So,
oh, okay. So maybe I was looking for a big.
Yeah, it could have been. Been it.
The big show.
The big one. Is the small one? Tiny.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had one other question about the content, and then, dang it, I told you to keep talking, then I lost what it was I was gonna ask.
Sorry.
That's all right. No, it's my fault for allowing you to keep speaking. I gotta get better at cutting people off and just running over them.
You could.
I could. No,
it's your world.
It is my world. That's right. My world now. But now, but now I forgot the question. It was good too. So I asked you about content. How often you're putting out content? And you're saying that you do a video here, you do a video there, and then, man, I was really hoping that little thing was going to jog my memory. That little trip down 2 minutes ago memory lane.
Back to you at the most inopportune time.
Oh, well, this is a great time to Usually I end up getting this to this too late. So, but let me
Mhm.
open it up now. Is that there's some time to get some questions from people in the chat, and
Ooh.
and yes, maybe I can go back to uh oh, Dan Magano Snakes was our first super chat. He was asking what in the
Yeah.
clickbait
Oh.
is this, Brian? Well, he was asking.
What kind of clickbait?
Yeah, it's not. I explained it then.
Yeah.
This is our so you heard me giving the intro. This is our last live stream we're doing. I'm glad it was you because this feels odd. It feels like we're just hanging out. Most of them
It
have been with
does.
people I know, but
Mm.
this has been super. I feel like we've had a good time so far,
Yeah, definitely.
which is always my goal, and sometimes I fail. Not tonight.
Not tonight,
Not
baby.
tonight. Tonight is fantastic. Yeah. Oh, folks, if I didn't say that already, apparently I'm in the mode where things don't stay in my head longer than 30 seconds. If you have a question for Deadly Tarantula Girl, Marita De La Pena, then now is the time to drop them. Oh, J Baby says I need to scroll up to that question. That sounds like a lot of work. It's very easy to attach. See, here's one question. There's the first question I see. What's up, Kenny? It's it's a lot easier to see when they're highlighted by super chats. Just re-ask it. It'll be so much easier.
Yeah, please do. I don't want to miss it.
Yeah, we don't want to miss the question, but
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's kind of a lot of scrolling to do. What's the next show you're going to? That wasn't my question, by the way, but that's the one I have now.
Somebody was asking me about Conroe, and I said, when is it?
June.
Truth is June. Okay, then probably. It's really hard for me to get away from my place because we don't have a lot of staff. We have one employee, and he's good, but like, so, oh, I left off our last rule about working with dangerous animals. No one does it alone. It's two or more people. That's probably the most important. And we have our safety procedures, our emergency first aid kit and all that stuff. But so when we're gone, there are a lot of things that cannot be done. So like livestock can be fed and watered, frogs can be taken care of. But if somebody notices that a 20-foot retic didn't eat, guess what? That rabbit is sitting in there for however many days, which that never happens. Those girls are 20 feet long for a reason. But I'm just saying, like, if someone noticed that there was a gaboon sitting in water, that animal would be sitting in yucky substrate for 2 to 4 days. So it's really hard for me to get away. I go to the NARBCs because I am a guest. I am a speaker there. But as far as the other shows that I go to, I'm super selective. Also, we don't have tons to sell right now because number one, we moved, which we knew would set most of our breeding projects back a year. And then we had a killer blizzard. So that hurt us a little bit too. And so honestly, I have not had anything on my table hardly at the NARBC. The stuff I had to sell this trip, I sold to DFW Reptarium, like just like, hey, meet me at the dock and buy all my stuff, and like then I'll get stuff from you later. So I don't know, but if you guys know of good shows, drop them in the chat and I will write them down and look into it. I love going to shows. It's so fun.
There's only so much time in life.
I know, and it's really hard for me to get away from work because they always say like, we give you summers off, and that is true. If it's a show in the summertime, my time's a lot more flexible. So
Makes sense.
I know I've been like, someone's kind of demanding that I go to a show the first weekend in June, and that's probably when the Conroe show is because they're competitors.
Excuse me.
So we'll see.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't go to a whole ton. I'm pretty selective myself. I know there's a ton of shows out there that do happen.
There's so many cool. I want to go to Pomona, and I haven't been to Florida in too long.
I'm thinking about going to both of those shows, Pomona and Daytona, and then maybe even
tell me which ones you're going to. Maybe I'll go with you.
Well, I think I'm gonna go to both. I think if I'm gonna nail down the shows that I'm gonna go to this year, it's gonna be Schaumburg, Now, none of these are 100%, but they're like
Okay.
96 or 7 or
Mm.
8 in there. So Schaumburg, uh, Pomona, Daytona. And I would really like to try and make it to the Herbst Conroe show in September. So those are
Yeah.
like the 4 that I'm really going to try and hit this year. And then from the Daytona show, I think I might go bounce over to the Dominican Republic and check out Lindy possibly. Right? Maybe
Oh,
go with,
that'd be fun.
maybe go with Dave Kaufman to
So does
find
he
some.
just live there now or what?
Pretty much, yeah. He's pretty
That's
much
cool.
there. Yeah, it's cool. And there's also Cyclura over there. So Dave's talking about come with me. We'll go do some Cyclura in the wild videos.
You're speaking my language. That was a totally legitimate swoon right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We have the J Babies was kind enough to retype
Yay,
his
yay.
question. So how do you determine what spiderlings to raise up when they hatch?
All of them? Do you
All of
mean
them.
like
Like
which
I
ones
probably
I
like
don't sell?
holdbacks. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So that depends, number one, on my interest because I have so many things that I tend not to keep things that I'm not in love with, which that's funny because that's a lot of stuff. But when you are literally coming home when you're already deadbeat tired, going to the gym, eating a 10-minute dinner, and then you're like, okay, it's 8:30 or 10 o'clock at night. I have at least 5 hours of work to do before I can go to sleep and then go to work early because I didn't grade all my papers. Um, if you're not looking at something that you love that whole time, it can get a little bit negative where some days you're kind of kicking yourself and you're like, why am I even doing this? And so all my close friends that are not in the hobby, they all say, you are crazy. Oh, you work too hard, blah, blah, blah. And here's what I say. I say, I have a profession. I don't need to work with animals. I do it because I love it. And also, this is the life I chose. So I don't complain about it. I don't go to work and say, oh, it's Monday. And I just got in at 4 o'clock this morning. And guess what time I get up? 4:45. So guess who's tired? My kids don't even know that I just rolled in. They have no clue. And then my friends are like, oh, you were out of town this weekend, weren't you? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, when you get back? I'm like, 5, I don't know, 4. I took a shower and came in, and they're just like, "You're crazy," and that's fine with me. That's totally fine. But to me, most people don't have the passion and the determination and the drive that my husband and I have. That they either get in and out of species or they get in and out of animals altogether. And one of the keys that I have found is really only working with species that you find truly rewarding. So, usually I only buy stuff that I love. And in general, we only buy stuff that we plan to reproduce. So, for example, let's say I'm going to buy, well, this is funny because of course I have these, but let's say I'm going to invest in Caribbean versicolor, beautiful color tarantula. I'm not going to buy one, I'm going to buy a pair or a group is the more logical thing. And so the numbers that I would keep back would depend on my breeding program for that species. So if it's a popular species and one that I know will be able to sell well, because what I don't want to have is 8,000 spiderlings in one species that then is dominating all of our time, because ultimately that's not going to be good for them. We only have so much time in our week. And if I can't care for or move that many spiderlings, it's kind of puts us in a pickle. Um, so basically, I hold back however many I need to continue my breeding program at a reasonable point. But I also love to share with my friends and sometimes give stuff away and do freebies. And then, of course, I sell and then I also trade too. So if there's a species I'm really low on and I know Kelly Swift has some and he needs some versicolor, the logical answer is to do trades. So the ultimate answer is that it depends on where I am in my breeding program with that species. Also, to what it is. If it's a easy species to keep, so if it's like a terrestrial desert dwelling, here I don't really have to do anything for that, being in Texas. If it's a finicky tropical species, or like reptiles, if it's reticulated pythons, of course I'm not going to hold back 100 of them, because they need complex housing. And so I guess the short answer to that is it depends on where I am in my breeding program, and also basically the care and maintenance that would be involved in holding back those numbers. But I always, pretty much always, do hold back some, because even if you have a strong breeding program, like spiders only live so long, and even snakes, a lot of, and then like hedgehogs only live, like 5 to 10 years, maybe more. But you have to think about where your adults are in the program as well. So yeah, that was like a 20-minute
It was a
answer.
very thorough answer. No.
Sorry.
A question was asking for information. You didn't disappoint.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. And we got time for one more. And where'd it go?
Who is it?
Do you let them? Same person actually. Just yeah. Do you let them eat each other while in the sack, or separate them to feed?
Oh yeah. So no, I don't have them cannibalize, even when I have like a Nandu chromatus has been my biggest egg sack, which I don't know how I remember this number, but the video went viral. Maybe that's why it's like stands out. Well, not truly viral. My most viral video.
200 million.
Yeah. No, like 2 million. The mom had 1,640 babies, and I don't let them cannibalize. There was a time in the past when I had so many frogs that I let the froglets cannibalize.
Wait. How do you not? You separately feed 1,600 spiders?
Yes, dear.
Yes.
And feed and water and house. Yep.
No. How 1,600 spiders you feed and house separately?
So small you can hardly see them. Mm-hmm. And you know what's worse than the spiderlings is the fucking microscopic food that they eat. And it has to be live or they won't eat it. So, yeah, so that's definitely a labor of love for sure. You should watch. Okay, so that egg separation. So that is why I open the egg sacs and remove them at the eggs with legs instar, the very first instar, because I don't allow them to cannibalize, and I separate them as they begin to molt out into feeding stage. That's a lot of times when I get death threats. When I'm, number one, taking the egg sac away from a cannibalistic mom, or when I'm opening the egg sac, and I'm very knowledgeable in what I'm doing. There are times when I've calculated the days and I've opened the egg sac and I see that they're not yet at that first instar stage, and I sew it back up with a needle and thread and I put it back in the incubator, and that has worked every single time. I got this wacky idea to do it one time because I'm like, they're not ready to come out. And I went and got a needle and thread and I sewed it back up, and it was perfect. It worked perfectly. Which people think that I'm cruel and horrible for not letting the mothers eat their children.
So it just blew my mind in so many different ways right now. Like the just the amount of babies, how you take care of them, and then also the fact, I think the majority of the population is terrified of spiders and be like, please light that thing on fire. Yeah. And yet there's the population that's like, you're a monster for touching that egg sac. I
know, right? Like totally polar opposites. And it's really weird because people will be like, I never cared about spiders before, but you're a monster. And I'm like, this isn't caviar. I'm not like spreading this on my toast. I'm saving them. But anyway, yeah. So the crazy videos, in my opinion, are not the exact separation. It's the follow-up videos when they hatch out and they're running around, and I open that incubation chamber and it's like a wave. Guess what? How many did I lose? Take a wild guess. How many?
I'm gonna guess none, because you're just superhuman.
Literally. And people will comment like, at 7 minutes and 14 seconds, you like one ran out of the frame. And I'm like, yeah, look at 9 minutes and 12 seconds.
Man,
I picked it up.
People are intense, huh?
They are.
It's funny. It's funny. I like to laugh at it a lot now. It's fun to laugh
Yeah.
at. Like, wow.
And it's and then also people, you're never gonna get rid of those. I was sold out in 3 weeks.
Oh man.
But you have to raise them up for a while before they're like a viable stage where you can ship them. So that was fun.
Yeah, I bet. Wow, that's intense. Well,
oh, and then I opened another exact the same day. I was like, no.
Can't wrap my head around it. I'm not gonna try. I'm just gonna allow you. I'm gonna let you. I'll watch the videos. Links down in the description. Tell you what, we're about to get out of here. We're gonna go into the after call. We're gonna do the after call Zoom call. And do you have anything you'd like to say? You blew my mind. You're leaving me in a mind blown state. I don't think we need to go any further with it. It's perfect timing because we're at the end of the hour.
There we go.
And I'm mind blown. Is there anything you'd like to say to the folks before we leave the live part?
So I need to give a big shout out, and I love you to everyone I saw this last weekend. You guys are my heart, and I love you. I also have to shout out the staff of the Haunted Lodge that we ended up at on Thursday night. Kooky story. Maybe I'll tell that one sometime soon. And thank you so much to you for being a beautiful person, and I love you and your family. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. We love you too.
Is it weird that I love your wife and children even though I've never met them?
Not at all. Anything else would be unacceptable.
Okay. And I am so blessed and grateful, and I have never been happier in my life.
Fantastic.
So thank you, God and universe and people and animals, because life is beautiful.
Yes, it is. Damn, what a great note to end on. Dude, thank you.
Go.
Thank you for coming on
go.
and give us your vibes.
Yes.
We'll see you in just a minute, okay?
Okay, I love you guys. Be safe.
Well, I would say that's probably the best way that we could have ended our series of live streams here on Triple B TV. Can you guys go ahead and agree with me? Go ahead and leave a comment down below and agree. Otherwise, don't leave one. I'll just delete it. This again, this was our last live stream. Thank you guys all for tuning in. From here on out, it's going to be what we used to do, which is talking with people in person. Big thank you to Marita again for coming on and spending her time with us. I did see that last super chat, Anna. Anna is going to be in our after call already. That's why I didn't add. I did see it. Thank you for that, Anna. But I know she's going to be in our after call that we do after every single one, which is something we are going to keep doing even though the live stream's over. We're always going to do our after call in the Zoom meetings with the link down below. And of course, above that is the link for Marita's channel where you can check out the incredible, insane spider stuff that'll blow your mind, that blew my mind. And man, we had virtually no technical difficulties for the first time, and it's our last one. How about that? Like, well, wow, unbelievable. But that's it. Until the next pandemic, folks. Thanks for tuning into the live stream. Peace.